And we are recording. And hey, everyone, it is Monday night, November 9th, and glad you guys are with us. If you are an experienced coach or a brand new coach, we come together every Monday night. We are Dee and Larry Corchin, and just really want to bring our team together for a time of community, inspiration, learning, and just learning what we can do to be our best together. And so we always start out with some inspiration, and just wanted to share something that I heard today. I know a lot of you guys are fans of the personal development coach, inspirational guru, Darren Hardy. And you can subscribe to his daily podcast, which is Darren Daily. But today he was talking about happiness and what he called the happiness trap. So his initial question was, are you happy? And he said a lot of people would even have a trouble answering that question. And he said the three happiness traps are, and just see if any of this resonates with you. He said, but the first one is what we call delayed happiness, that we can get into a mindset of, I'll be happy when fill in the blank, right? And happiness is not something to be delayed in the future. Happiness is either happening at this moment or it's not. And the danger when it's the happiness when whatever is that we just keep kicking the can down the road. That horizon keeps moving further and further away. The second is that we're actually spending our time trying to make other people happy or another person happy. That we've actually maybe don't even know a clear definition of our own happiness and are trying to meet the standards of success or happiness but other people define. So that might resonate with you. And the other one is the comparison and contrast. Right? That when we match ourselves up against other people, that we somehow then are dissatisfied and unhappy. So he really talked about that happiness cannot be determined from the outside. It is really something that comes out from within and something that has to happen in a current moment. And he shared that in order for that to be, the starting place is to be in a place of gratitude, to appreciate who we are, where we are, and what we have at this moment. So I just thought that was really appropriate, especially as we are heading into the month of November and Thanksgiving. And what I would love right now is really for us to just blow up the chat. And the first thing that came to mind for you for what you're grateful for at this moment, if you'll just pop that in the chat, I would just love to see us start our focus in that way.
Super. Oh, here it comes.
All right, our health. Aw, Secret, the dog. What else we
won't tell Bob that.
The weather, our health, life itself. God is in control. Oh my goodness, look at this. Family. Like-minded people, my grandbabies. Aw. My daughters. Ooh, ran for a half hour today. This team, yay. Me too, Mary. Well, good stuff. Keep it coming. Yeah, the weather has been gorgeous. All right, Larry's going to talk about a couple of things that we have coming up.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of great stuff coming up, folks, and you probably know about it. And if you don't, this is a good reminder. So Thursday.
This is brand new.
Oh, this is brand new. This is brand new. But there are other stuff that you probably know about. But Thursday at 12:30, we are doing Time for You. So what that is think about it this way. Dee and I are having office hours. So feel free to drop in on Thursday from 12 to 1 or 12:30 to 1. So, and again, just any questions or any thoughts that you have regarding your business, by all means, we're here to help you along on that. And then Wednesday on the 18th, there will be a health and hope night. Those are always a great opportunity to invite not just clients, but also prospective coaches for them to get an opportunity to see what we're all about. So those are always great. And yes, it's a Facebook event, Vicki, as far as that goes. Our Thursday event will be Zoom. So we'll have that as Zoom. And then Saturday on the 21st, Rise Up Coach Summit. So every coach is invited to attend, and it is free. It's an online virtual event. I think Dan Bell is.
It's all of them.
It's all of them.
Leaders.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I thought Dan Bell was coordinating or the head guy. But anyway, so Atlanta area, we are going to try to do a local event, and we encourage you wherever you are, if you want to have a local event, COVID protection, of course. Again, be wise as far as whether or not you need to stay very protected because of family members, et cetera. But again, we're going to try to do that in the Atlanta area. So again, just to try to make it fun and kind of have more community again. So that's what we have going on. And again, that's Saturday, the 21st. So again, that's some good trainings coming up right before Thanksgiving.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah, perfect. And so tonight, what we're going to talk about, and you probably saw the title of it, is really about helping our clients get integrated. How do we help them really see the value and embrace the 4 components of the program? So everything beyond the eating plan, which we know they love and adore because it works so well. But how do we help them engage into the transformational system, the books, as well as participate in the Facebook group? And we know that when clients do this, this is when they get their best results. So we were talking about it, and we had over 400, our second highest month of new clients come in last month as a group. And something that I personally do, I've been coaching for 9 years, but I really view like every new client I get, the opportunity to help, I really view it as an opportunity to improve my skills, to do it a little bit better, to maybe try a little bit different technique, try a little different wording, see what works. And so we always want to be bringing all our existing clients forward, but every new client is an opportunity, and we just got a huge opportunity here. And so we have the blessing of being able to do tips calls with your clients, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But it really gives an opportunity for us to meet with your clients and help reinforce and edify everything that you're already telling them. And when I meet with Lori Cole's clients, most often they are involved in the life book, and they also, you probably see it too, they also participate and share things in the coach group. So we were chatting about it, and I was like, I would just love you to share, because I don't know about you, but I always love hearing from people that things are working well, especially language that they're using and tips that they have. So real excited that Lori Cole and another coach from her, a leader from her team, are going to be sharing tonight. So you can take it, Lori.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Hey, how are y'all doing? Are y'all good? Give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me okay? All right. Awesome. Hey, when Dee asked me about the integration, I don't know that there's like a system that everybody has to do, but what I do is I just learn from other people. So as I go through this, just take whatever you think is beneficial and make it yours. I think if there's anything that I've learned from Dan Bell is there's always music, and everybody likes a different kind, but whatever makes sense to you. So as Dee and I were chatting about this, she was asking me about my client and coach integration. And I have to come back to a moment probably about 6 years ago. No, a little less than that, maybe like 5 years ago. And I had a self-check. So I'd gone through the program. I'd lost my weight. I had done really well with maintenance. And I had a really bad, just a situation personally, a real estate deal that had gone really poorly. And on the way home from that, I called Dee and I said, hey, I recognize that that I'm in a vulnerable spot with my eating, and I'm tempted. We were living in this apartment in this cute little town in Georgia. And I said, I'm tempted to just go to all these fun restaurants and we can walk there, and I know me and I feel vulnerable. And in that moment with I share this story because number one, I was scared of failing as a coach and as a client. And I shifted from recognizing that I had been in a diet mindset, if that makes sense to you, to a transformational mindset. I didn't want to go back. I knew my blind spot. And so in that, Dee called me once a week for probably about 6 weeks, checked in with me, loved on me a little bit, and helped me get my mind back in the game for health. Because I think it's really difficult to coach people from a place where we're not thriving and moving. And I would say this, that everybody's health journey is a squiggly line. Nobody starts and goes straight to the end, and that's how it goes. And so if you can just, as a coach, it helps me remember that I have more empathy when I've gone through something hard than if I just did it perfectly. So, you know, in that there's a moment of ownership for me in that transformation. So I'm not dieting anymore, and I had a diet mindset. I lost my weight. I'm good. I had my goal. I remember taking a picture of the scale and sending it to Dee. But I think when you shift into what's next, because I lost this weight, what am I going to accomplish? And for me, it's just a ministry of pouring out now to hundreds of other people. And I think as a coach, one of the important things is to I'm a performer. I mean, I like to do well. I like to be the very best at what I do. But if you stay in that performance, there's a transactional attitude that comes, like, how many clients can I get? What rank can I get? How much money can I make? And all those are really great and wonderful things, except for we're missing the relational part. So as I've grown as a coach, one of the things that I'm learning to do is to step back and to just embrace the relationships. Every new client, I love that Dee said that. Every new client is an opportunity, and how can we love on them where they are? And it's not about next, next, next. We do have to have the mentality of who can we help next? But in that 10-minute check-in call, to be all in, I think is so important. I have, and you know, it's not always pretty. Like as a coach, I found myself as a hero. How can I'm going to save the day. I'm going to power through. I'm going to help this person. And you cannot help, I mean, you help people where they are. So also embracing the idea that you're in a relationship. Like I have a client who is on program for the third time, and you know, we had a really hard conversation, and I don't think she loved it, you know, and I just asked her a couple of questions. I said, can I have permission to ask you these things? And you know, when you're in a relationship with somebody, she said yes. I don't think she meant yes, but she said yes. And then I asked her a couple of hard questions, and it took her a minute, and we're still texting, but she's not taking my calls right now. So as a coach, what I did was I just held up that mirror and I just said, is it really okay? You know, she kept saying, well, I gained 2 pounds, but it's okay. And I said, honey, is it really okay? And that's hard for me because I want her to be successful, but also I recognize that when I ask her, was it really okay with her that she fell off every weekend and came back Monday? And you know, in that relationship moment, I text her every Wednesday and I say, I love you. And I hope that your journey is going good. And I'm here at whatever capacity that you want me to love on you. And I learned that from Dee because she does that so well. Where you are is where she is. And so I'm learning to be in that moment and stop trying to hero coach. You got to power through. You got to get it done. And that is not really very effective because we're dealing with some mental stuff that we have to overcome, which takes us to the wonderful part of our program that we're going to talk about tonight, which is integration of our community and to our life book. And, you know, I learned so much from those people around me that I'm honored to work with and step in beside. And we know that we coach well. We do. I mean, look at our numbers, you guys. We coach and we love well. Our feelings are easy and wonderful. But when it comes to education community, that's one part I personally thought I could work on. So I want to introduce you guys to one of our leaders. She's an executive director, and she does this in an excellent way. And so Alona, if you'll click on here, Alona is an executive director, and what she's going to take a few minutes to talk to you about is integration to the life book. And if you guys will pop in the chat and tell me like how you feel like you're doing with the life book, I would love to kind of get a poll because I know, you know, for me, that's one of my weaker areas. So pop in the chat there and let us know what you think, how you think you're doing with your client integration in the life book. Okay, very good. Well, you guys got to listen to the smart girl because she's got some really good tips, and I learned a whole lot from talking to her today. So, Alona, take it away, girl, and then I'll pop back in about the Eat, Live, and Be.
Okay. Well, thanks, Lori. Give me a thumbs up if everyone can hear me. Okay. First of all, the first thing Lori said about being thankful for the struggle, I would have never found my strength. So I think that's one of the sayings I've heard from one of the Optavia conventions that we've just experienced here recently. But I was so interested in all the factors that were behind this program, and I would ask Lori so many questions as a client in my first 5-6 months. And when I decided to coach, and I thought I had a lot of the answers that she told me about, and then I decided to be certified, I found out that all the answers are in the life book. So to every question you've ever had about this program, it's all in there, and it's very organized. I think I started more so with the Dr. A book, the text. I read that more than I read the life book. So I wanted to be informed more so than I wanted to be changed. So I think the life book has definitely made an impact on that. One thing that I've put together tonight is just a couple of excuses that clients, or a couple of things that people tell you on a client call. And then how, like Lori said, how to separate the guide from the hero. Because oftentimes, since we've done the program, we think we're the expert, we have all the answers, we just want to tell them what to do next, and you got this, buy a bottle from Amazon, this is the answer, when oftentimes we're supposed to be guiding them to their own answers. So not only do I use the life book, but on my calls, I do use the coaching guide as well. The coaching guide is key, because if you are a hero and you recognize that in yourself, you'll slow down and ask more open-ended questions so that they can come up with their own SMART goal, per se. For instance, you have clients who say, oh, I had a bad day at work, I had a family emergency, there was a party, there was a retirement party at work, I cheated, or whatever, Well, I usually say, okay, well, there's an element. If you ask for permission, would you like me to help you with that? Lori always says, ask permission. But there's an element, element 4 is the stop, challenge, and choose. And so I don't say, well, I'm going to go through this whole element with you on the call. That's not. So I said, do you mind if I send you a YouTube? First of all, that is the stop, challenge, and choose. There's a YouTube link to one of the coaches that have done a presentation. I really like it. And I just start with that. And if they listen to it, I'll kind of start asking some of the questions like, what do you think about the drama triangle? Or what do you think about the empowerment triangle? And when we start to have those conversations, what do you think about it? Not, you don't point out you're being a victim. Like, that's awful, right? So it's just guiding them to recognizing certain aspects that the program points out, and them recognizing those things in themselves. Another one, I keep cheating, I don't want a fueling, I keep getting criticized for being on this diet and eating diet food. Well, that goes to element 5 and element 7, where element 5 talks about your surroundings and the people who are the questions in the coaching book say, who are like-minded people that you can lean on? So in those times, who are those like-minded people? And when they begin to think and identify, oh, that might be my coach. Oh, that might be my 13-year-old, whereas my 14-year-old wants to tempt me with food. My 13-year-old is actually one of my cheerleaders. So it might be someone as simple as that. Or how can you respectfully ask them questions like, how can you respectfully respond to people who aren't supportive? So just some of those questions where they're practicing. Again, they're not perfect. This is their journey, it's their process, but they're practicing the verbiage they're going to use the next time they need to talk to someone about their program, or they can ask you for help. if they need to. But most of the time they can come up with that on by themselves. There's people who skip fuelings. Element 8, eating every 3 hours. Why is that so important? Element 10 with water. Are you getting enough? On our calls, we go, are you getting enough water? Are you eating every 3 hours? Well, let's talk about that. Why do you think drinking water is so important? Have them tell you kind of what those things are, so that when they're not drinking enough water, they're recognizing that it's not, oh, I'm not doing what my coach told me to do. It's more so, I'm not drinking the water for myself. I'm not washing my fat cells away. I'm not creating more satiety by having a fuller stomach. I'm not helping my liver. And, you know, they can verbalize that, and they're owning it for their own body. I'm probably going too long. You just give me a thing right here. But dealing with addictive foods. So you might have someone that says, oh my gosh, I can't stop drinking. I had a pop. And they're so disappointed. Element 16 talks about, there's so many questions that clients will have, and the coaching guide helps to separate out you being a coach that actually tells them what to do, where there's just one person telling them what to do, or them telling themselves what to do.
Alona, that is so great. Thank you. The other thing that Alona does really well is she follows up with a text. So she'll say, hey, I want you to, let's read that. And then she'll follow up with a text with that link in it. I think that's so awesome. So I learned, I mean, you guys can see how she does this so well. Isn't that great? She does a great job with that. And I shared that in particular, that one link that she was referring to. I also wanted to chat with you really quickly about how to integrate clients into the community. You will notice that a lot of our clients do post in the community, and it starts with just asking them to. I mean, we can't make people do anything, right? We're all a volunteer army. But what we do is I say, hey, Alona, I'm so glad that you're starting program tomorrow. Can you introduce yourself by saying this? And then I text her the words. Hi, I'm Alona. Tomorrow's my first day. Lori's my coach. And then, because if I said introduce yourself, well, where does that start and end? I mean, that's a mess, right? I've got 47 years of introductions. How do I do that? So if you just simply give them the verbiage, a lot of times they're like, well, I can do that. That's easy. And I found that my clients will do that. And so as soon as they introduce themselves, I have a private message for my coaches. And I automatically, as soon as they introduce themselves, I go to my coach thread. You can do this with Coaches Opt for Change. You can do this with your coach thread if you have some coaches and you're on a message. You can do this with your mentor. Text your mentor, hey, will you please help welcome this person? Because we want them, from that moment that they take that vulnerable step of just saying hello, we want them to feel the love, the support, the community that we have, and we're awesome. So always come around that. And it's more than a like, it's a, hey, you're going to do great, we're cheering for you. You know, it's more than that. So that's how I integrate into the community. But I also, like, you'll notice my clients keep posting. I don't know if you've seen that before, but the way that I get them to do that is, as a coach, I'm listening. Well, let's use the example that Alona did. Well, I went to a retirement party and I ate a piece of cake, but today I'm back on track. Here's what I love about you. You didn't do it perfectly, but you made the decision to get back in. So this is the message that our community needs to hear. So could you go on and post and say something like this? My weekend wasn't perfect, but I'm back in the game. And then as soon as they do that, I hit my message thread and get everybody to start feeding into that positivity. And through that, I think my coaches do that well. And I think that we've seen that produces a lot of really invested clients. And if they can do that, then they can become coaches, right? I mean, it's just about vulnerability, so they can step into that much easier. So, Dee was mentioning Wendy moving to the life book. She and I talked about that today. And I think the sooner the better. I think if you let them start losing weight, then I think what happens is they start getting into a diet mindset and things are easy. And, oh, this is easy. I can eat these things and do these things. But the more you start shifting that mindset, it's those micro habits that change the trajectory of the whole path. So I think those are my tips. I think I'm almost out of time, but y'all, isn't Alona awesome? I mean, I'm just I know, right? She has just come into this program. She's lost about 100 pounds by the way, and just rocking it. So I'm just so excited for her. I just learned so much from her. So I had to share that with y'all. And so just to close up, if I could just urge you to do anything, it's just, gather your coaches around you, give your clients some words to say, and I think that you're going to see inspiration come along. So, Dee, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I know you had a couple of other things, but thanks so much for letting me speak.
Yeah, so good, Lori and Alona. So appreciative. And Alona, if you can unmute for a second, what is your weight loss? I know you have hit some massive goals with your weight loss, Alona.
Yeah, I'm almost at 100, almost, right? Like, what is it? 4 pounds to go. So
Congratulations.
yeah.
I love how you're using your journey, your experiences to help your clients. And what I heard the most, you guys, and I hope you picked up on the same, was, one that Lori said, the sooner the better with our clients and getting them involved. I used to do the same thing. I used to think, well, let me just get them going up for a week on the weight loss plan, and then I'll start them in the life book. And I have found that's too late almost, that really from the get-go, when they're excited, when they get their books, especially if they get their program on a Thursday and they're not starting until Monday. All right, great. Let's get into your life book this week. Let's write your name in it. And could you read the introduction before we meet it, before we do your journey kickoff call? So I always look for that permission. So I love that language that you used. And Alona's reference that she listens for the problem and then offers the element as the solution. So she's not teaching them anything. She doesn't have to have the answers. We're just directing them. And Lori, when we talked this afternoon, maybe you can hold up your book. Lori showed me that she keeps her table of contents to the life book open on her desk so that when she's making her calls, it's right there. Because we don't have to memorize which one sleep is in. You can glance down and say, hey, element, I don't even know. 19 is on sleep, but you can, and that's all we really need to do as coaches is we are purely guides. So if that was helpful for you guys, if you will give them huge shout outs in the comments. I just so appreciate the way that they gathered that info for us. And reminder that with tips calls, we're going to spend some more time on this, but when your client is coming up on their 1 week celebration, or if you haven't done one yet, to do a tips call with the next fully integrated business coach in your line. And we'll train a little bit more on that. But what we do is come in behind you and we just reinforce and edify everything that you're saying, and our clients love it. So as we're wrapping up, go ahead. I have one more person to share. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, no, when you get into the life book, you as a coach will really enjoy your business that much more. Every client that I have that gets into the life book, we have really great conversation. I have one client, she's like, okay. And she gets in the call. She goes, okay, left. She goes, let's go to page, 60. I had a question on this, and it's so much fun. Okay. And we talk about it, and we were able to go through the life book, and I see that growth. Now, I'm not a teacher. I know Lori is. All right. And we may have other teachers on here, but it's so great when you see the student get it. Okay. It really is. It means so much. So again, getting folks into the life book and going there, you as a coach are going to gain so much more fulfillment in your business. So I just wanted to share that. And again, the tips call, you mentioned that. So again, please bring them to us. We'd love to, again, all the 5 BCs would love to share.
And Lori was really clear when she shared that not everybody does get into the life book, right? And I saw some of your comments, but what I realized is that the more involved we are as individuals, as coaches, and the more our expectation is that they will be, and that we continue to talk about it more, you'll start to see a shift in your clients that more of them will be. And that's what we're looking for, is just that incremental move of the dial, that more are in. So as we wrap up in our last minute or so, Val Evanson, we were talking last week and you were just talking about a personal experience with your life book and also with tips calls. So if you could maybe unmute for a minute.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. So I'm starting to kind of like giggle to myself a little bit as I'm hearing Lori and Alona talk about the life book, because I can't really be a good coach and get my clients integrated in the life book if I haven't been there myself. And so I've been coaching for 2 years, and in the last couple of months, I've kind of, struggled a little bit with my own personal, weight loss journey. And then in turn, you kind of slip, in your coaching ability. And then it was at the end of October, and I'll give the shout out to Frank Davis. He was on that live video and said, invest 5 minutes in your life book. And I thought, I can do this. Like, I've got 5 minutes. So since that point, I've been putting a timer on my phone for 5 minutes every morning for the last couple of weeks. I'm already through element 4. And so I feel like, geez, I'm going to be such a much more educated coach, and I can actually direct clients where to go in the life book if I've actually read it and been there and done it. So it's been really helpful. And also the tips call, Dee, you and I were talking about that last week, because I never really did that in the beginning. I just kind of always let it go, let the clients go. And then the next thing you know, they're down 50 pounds and I've never even introduced them to my coaches. So the last couple clients that I've started over the last 2 months, I've made sure in my second week that I'm doing the 3-way call with either Dee or Larry. And I feel like it really gives them a sense of what our community is about. And it's not just the Val Evanson show and I'm coaching and I'm doing this thing on my own. So it's really great. And then I feel like too, the clients that I started recently, they now know Dee because they met 2 weeks into the plan. And so, in the challenge, in our Facebook group, if they see Dee making a comment or Larry or whatever, they're going to put the name with the face, and it just seems more personal, I feel like. And so I've made a commitment that I'm not going to let 2 weeks go past. We're going to have that call within 2 weeks. I mean, I shouldn't even tell this, but I had a client, she's been on the plan for a year, and we finally did our tips call last week. And I'm just like, what are you doing? It's so much more impactful and beneficial to them if you just get on the phone. And it also helps with the coach stripping, because Larry and Dee are way better at that than I am. So that's what I had to share. I know we're like at time, but anyway, it was really good. Thanks, Lori and Leon, they were really, really awesome tips tonight. So thanks.
Val, thank you so much. And thanks for your transparency, right? We never, we all have opportunity areas, right, to work on. So again, appreciate your transparency. And again, wherever you are, jump in. I mean, again, it's a great place to be in your life book, and it's all about growing each and every day. So that's what we do. So more growth ahead tonight. We've got Dr. A's call and the other calls. We appreciate you so much. Keep up the great work out there. And love you guys. Be safe, and we will talk to you next week. Take care.
Bye. We'll see
Bye.
ya. Thanks.
Great job.